Today, we're digging into a hidden risk that's sitting right at the heart of the whole data and AI revolution. It's a risk that's hiding inside a tool that literally millions of us use every single day. And it all kicks off with one absolutely massive number. So that number, 20 million. That's how many Power BI semantic models are estimated to be out there in the world right now. You got to think of each one as its own little universe of business intelligence, just packed with insights and rules that teams have spent years building. It is a huge collective asset. But here's the catch. What if I told you that buried inside all of those millions of super valuable models is a hidden danger? A kind of ticking time bomb that most companies don't even know is there. A risk that, if it goes off, can cause some truly catastrophic failures. So, what is this sneaky risk we're talking about? Well, it all starts when you stop seeing your Power BI dashboards as just a bunch of pretty charts, and you start seeing them for what they really are: hidden maps of your business logic. And when those maps don't line up with each other, you start racking up a really dangerous kind of debt. It's called semantic debt. The easiest way to think about it is like technical debt, but for your business vocabulary. Every single time two different departments define the exact same concept in a slightly different way, you're taking on a little bit more of this debt. It's quiet, it builds up over time, and sooner or later, the bill's gonna come due. And seriously, this kind of thing happens everywhere. For example, your finance team might say a high-risk customer is anyone with a risk score over 80. But then you go over to the sales department, and for them, it's a customer with a churn probability higher than 70%. Now, both of those definitions are totally valid in their own context, but they are not the same. So when an AI has to make a critical decision, which definition is it supposed to use? Okay, so this isn't just some academic idea. Let's get into a real-world story where this exact kind of issue led to an honest-to-goodness multi-million-dollar disaster. This is where semantic debt gets very, very real. It all started with something that probably happens a dozen times a day in your company. A simple cleanup, totally well-intentioned. A data team just renamed a column in their database. Warehouse_location became facility ID. Seems harmless, right? What could go wrong? Well, an automated AI agent that depended on that data, it had no clue this change ever happened. Its programming told it to go look for warehouse_location. So it just kept on looking for it, completely blind to the fact that its entire map of the data world was now totally wrong. So what happens when an AI asks for a location and just gets nothing back? It gets a null value. And in this case, the agent interpreted that lack of data in the worst possible way and just started routing these high-value, supercritical shipments to facilities that weren't even open anymore. The cost, the final bill to recover all those shipments and fix the fallout from this one tiny single data change, $4.6 million. It's just a brilliant and frankly terrifying example of how a tiny semantic mismatch can spiral into a massive financial failure. So how in the world do you stop something like this from happening? Well, that's where this open source tool comes in. It's called the Power BI Ontology Extractor, and it was built for this exact purpose: to go in and mine the hidden DNA of your business logic and make it safe for AI to use. The basic idea here is actually pretty simple, but it's incredibly powerful. The tool does all the heavy lifting. It can automatically pull out and formalize about 70% of your business logic right from your existing Power BI models. Then, that last 30%, the really deep, nuanced stuff, that's where a business analyst comes in to add that crucial context. The whole process is broken down into 4 really clear steps. First, it extracts all that hidden logic from your Power BI file. Then, it generates what's called an ontology, which is kind of like a super detailed dictionary and rulebook for your data that a computer can actually read. Third, the analysts enhance it with specific business rules. And finally, you deploy it as a semantic contract that an AI can understand and, more importantly, has to obey. Okay, so what does this actually look like when a real company uses it? Let's take a look at a Fortune 500 logistics company that was just completely paralyzed by this exact problem. So before they found this tool, they had this huge AI project that was completely stalled out. And why? Because a single concept like customer risk was defined 12 different ways across 47 different dashboards. Can you imagine? The estimated price tag to manually untangle that mess was $2.4 million, and it was going to take 18 months. The project was basically dead in the water. Now check out the after. By using the extractor tool, they automated the whole discovery process. What they thought would take a year and a half took just 4 weeks. What they had budgeted at $2.4 million cost only $120,000. And their AI project, it went from on hold to in production, just like that. The final result was a mind-boggling 2,000% return on investment. I mean, that's just wild. And the key takeaway here is that by unlocking and standardizing the business logic they already had, they saved millions of dollars and got a critical project out the door in a tiny fraction of the time. But here's the really cool part. This tool does more than just clean up old messes. I think its most powerful feature is how it protects you in the future. It basically acts like a semantic firewall for your AI systems, which would have prevented that $4.6 million mistake from ever happening in the first place. So here's how that firewall actually works. The system is constantly checking the AI's map of the data against the real-deal database. So if a column name changes, boom, it instantly detects this schema drift. It then automatically slams on the brakes, stopping the AI agent. It even calculates the potential financial damage of the error and tells the human operators exactly what went wrong and how to fix it. And this right here, this is the bottom line. The source material puts it perfectly. The AI agent will not execute until schema drift is resolved. It's a failsafe. It's an automated circuit breaker that puts safety and accuracy way above just blindly getting a task done. It turns your business logic into a protective shield. So let's end with this thought. There are 20 million of these Power BI models out there, and every single one is just packed with years of human expertise and business logic. This isn't just about preventing mistakes anymore. It's about unlocking a massive, untapped resource that's just sitting there. So what could your organization build if you could finally get all that hidden knowledge to speak the same language?